Well guys, it's Matt here, bit of deja vu again this week. We're going on with the excavator and the rocks, so it's actually been working quite well. The Deutz is obviously busy, so we've just got a couple of roads that need tidying up. So we're hooking the old 9G here up to the drag bucket. So it's not the ideal tractor for it, but we might be able to just smooth off a couple of little bits and bobs. So see how it goes at least anyway. The old man can reminisce about his childhood. Well, we tried hooking that up and it didn't quite work. The tongue on the old girl wasn't deep enough to get the pin through. So plan B, we might be hooking the Steiger up. Yeah, so we're going to hook this up to the drag bucket here. The poor old 9G didn't work, so yeah, we're just going to hook this one up. That pin's too big to fit in the hole there, so I've actually got to go and get another pin. So won't be going just at the minute. Yeah, it's fair overkill for what we need to do, but it's the only spare tractor at the minute. So it's almost as bad as the time one of us used a D11 to try and help a air compressor back up on its feet. Didn't go as well as planned, but yeah, we have been known to do a few things that are a bit overkill. Yeah, so there was a little bit of interest in this old thing here, and I thought I might just give a bit of history and we'll get the old man to tell us about himself. No, no, he grew up on this tractor, so yeah, I think he's got a couple of little stories that might be of interest to some.
Yeah, g'day folks. Yeah, I was born in 1959, so I'm not as old as I look, and that's because of the boys I've got. But back in 68, 69, Dad set me loose on this old tractor on I think it was a 14 disc or a 12 disc plough at the time, and I spent a Saturday on that, and he went and on the throttle here, he went and set her up with an old pencil mark that's still there.
You can just see it. No, it's probably a bit hard, right where my fingernail is.
It's 1400 revs. He set me up going all day Saturday, and so there I went. But one of the good things about a Chamberlain was that if you came home without any aches and pains, then you weren't driving a Chamberlain. And but they were very rugged machine, very reliable, but low on comfort. We had a lot of Chamberlains when I was a kid. They stopped producing them or John Deere bought them out in the late 70s, and they produced one or two after that with the yellow colour, and then I think in the early 80s they did make some Chamberlains with the green John Deere colour, but then they were phased out. So they were a good old tractor, but I'm happy they're a memory and not having to drive them now.
What do you think of the louvers? Were they high tech at the time?
It was, when I was a kid in the wet weather and you're going in the rain, it was like a cubby house on wheels. Once it got warmed up, when you went into the wind, it was fantastically warm, but when the wind came up from behind you, it wasn't so flash.
Yeah, there's no protection from the back. But these cabs aren't from Chamberlain, are they? They were built.
This was a Gason cab, a farmer cab they called them, and that I only ever knew it with the cab on it. And Gason have now gone on to become quite a large manufacturing company of agricultural machinery in Australia from Victoria. But this used to drive power takeoff headers, old Sunshine or Massey Ferguson 585s. This was the bracket that held what they called the hydrostat, and there was 4 levers on that. There was a little actuating piston in here that drove thin poly lines or hydraulic lines that went back to the machine and actuated some of the belt tensioners on the machine, so you could actually operate the machine from here with 4 levers, and that was quite an innovation of the day. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, when my brother Ian and I were younger, probably early teens or 11 or 12, something like that, he was 18 months older than me. But when Mum and Dad went away, we'd sometimes get the 2 tractors out and have a race. But this one was quicker. It would do 27 mile an hour, and the other one couldn't do that. But we'd get it up on 3 wheels, one rear wheel off the ground, because if you got more than 1 wheel off the ground, there were no wheels on the ground because she was over. because of the front axle pivoting. But yes, I look back on that now and I wonder if that may be why Dad looked a little bit older than he was too.
Got Josiah with me for today at least on the dump truck, so yeah, we should be a little bit more efficient there. We're going to clean up all the windrows and piles that we left up in that section, and then he'll hop off the dump truck and go on the rock picker and tidy them up. So we've cultivated that section and it looks really good underneath, so the excavator's been doing a good job, so we're quite happy. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Gotta check the fluids every day. If the dog piddled on my hat this morning, so there's a bit of funny smells going on. Bit rude really. Might have to abandon the hat. Well, it's going good here. I think the boys have been having a bit of fun down at the Dozers, so I think Phil's got a bit of footage there. I think he forgot to take the GoPro, so you'll probably have to just make do with yeah, some phone footage that might have a bit of wind noise, but anyway, I think yeah, it should be interesting.
Well guys, we've got a bit of an issue here. I've just been cruising along in the Dozer and then all of a sudden this happened. We got coolant spraying everywhere, and shut the engine down and come out and saw a 2.5 inch hose busted. So we got Brad on the other side there. You can see him through there. He's having fun in there. Yeah, so I managed to sabotage his Dozer. You can see it way over in the distance there. Way over there. I let him know that this was broken down, and it's kind of him to go and get it bogged. So yeah, he's over here helping me now to get this going so we can push him out. We got the hose off. It's well and truly busted. So we've put the new one on, and it's time to put 200 litres of coolant in it. We're going to just give her a start and make sure there's no coolant leaks. It's not pouring out the side, so that's a start. Just have a look at the hose. Well, we're off to go and save Brad from his awkward moment. Oh yeah, need to just give her a little push on the corner of the blade here and see if we can get her out. Be able to back out now. Let the dog away again now.
Well, another morning here at the development block. Got the 555 Versi hooked up to the Kelly chains here, and we're just going to run over that section that we cleared yesterday. And that'll just help break down some clods and possibly flick up a couple of rocks. The idea of that is just to get it fluffed up a bit and soften the soil a bit, ready for the rock picker to come through. So the rock picker really likes soft, dry dirt, and yeah, without any clods or anything, because yeah, that way it can just work and flick the rocks into the middle. So that's the plan, and we'll see how far we get. We're just letting the old girl warm up a bit. It was a little fresh last night, so it yeah, she usually takes 5 minutes just to calm down. She smokes pretty bad, but yeah, no, she'll get there. Yeah, she's starting to clear up now, so we'll be right. Well, it seems to be going all right. It's a bit slower than we usually like to run this thing. Sort of the faster you go, the smoother everything is and the better the job. You can see behind it there, it's bringing up a few rocks to the surface, so that's the main goal. Just makes it a lot easier for the rock picker. So yeah, in other news today, I have a fresh hat. Since the other one got defiled yesterday. That was very unpleasant because I needed the hat as the sun was coming down in the afternoon and it stank. So, note to self, I won't leave the hat on the ground next to my boots again. So yeah, there's a fair bit of banging and clanging going on. I don't really want to get too close. Yeah, there's still just a bit of moisture there, so it's not doing a perfect job, but yeah, it's still getting a fair chunk of them. So we just got to go. Sometimes a rock won't quite go in properly, so just back up a little bit. But yeah, this will give you a good idea of what it does. If I was ever a piece of machinery, I wouldn't be a rock picker, that's for sure. Doesn't sound good. So you can see behind it here, we do have the odd rock that was just in a bit deep and I couldn't flick it out. But the majority of it is, yeah, is still quite good really. You can see just over there further, all those other rocks. So it's, yeah, no, it's certainly doing a good job for a first pass. We'll yeah, I'll just walk a fair bit behind here. I don't want to get too close to that thing from behind in case something pops out over the top, but yeah, we can see here the Kelly chains just flicked a few of these rocks out on top, and now because it is a bit uneven too, the rock picker struggles to pick it up. It really loves just a nice even paddock that's dry, and then it works really well. Well, I think that's going to be it for the day. Could be doing the same thing tomorrow, but yeah, it's very interesting how the rock pick is going. So you can see here it's not as good, it's quite uneven here, so it sort of struggles to scrape in the rocks. But you can see just over here it's yeah, it's done quite a nice job. We just need to run the cultivator through it at some point. That way we can bring up any more rocks underneath, and yeah, then that should be the majority of them done. So in some places it doesn't matter how many rocks you pick, there's more that just keep coming up. With this sort of country, what we've found anyway is it is true over years, but if you get the majority of them off and you know, cultivate it a couple of times and pick them, you'll have quite a few years of yeah, a lot less stuff to deal with. So there will always be some come up, but yeah, it makes a massive difference. So we're yeah, it's quite exciting to get them out of the paddock. The other thing too is I think we've finally worked out what works best here. So it works out being a lot quicker just scraping up the rocks as we go and putting them straight into the truck. We thought it might be easy just to scoot along and either windrow it or put it in piles and then come back with the loader and do it, but it actually yeah, is nearly just as quick to scrape up the rocks and load them into the truck all in one pass, because you can still reach out a fair way to scrape in the rocks. And that way we still only need one person really, because you can just jump from the excavator into the dump truck and dump it, and yeah, it's actually going quite well that way. So we'll probably stick with that. And yeah, it sort of makes the sieve bucket very helpful as it's drying out. It's actually doing a little bit, like a bit of dirt is coming through, so it's starting to work. But yeah, also with the teeth they're a bit close together on that, you can still scrape well, but also use it as a bucket to load into the dump truck. So sort of negates the need for a special attachment for the excavator, because we're not windrowing it. It just, yeah, double handling it just makes it too inefficient. So that's where we're at the moment. And yeah, we've still got a little bit more to go, but we're getting there. Yeah, so it's been much the same this week, and yeah, unfortunately farming's a bit like that sometimes. Sometimes you'll be doing the same thing for a week or two, but that's just life. So I'm trying to make these sort of videos as realistic as possible. So that's why it can be a bit choppy and changey, rather than just one project at a time. But yeah, we're getting there. So yeah, we'll probably have a bit more of this to do next week. There'll be a bit of other stuff going on as well. As always, just hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, we are also on Instagram and Facebook, and the links will be in the description for that, so you can check them out. I think that's it. We'll catch you in the next one.